Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. She used to meet me at the door. That night I opened it and found a woman who looked like my wife, but moved like a stranger. No hello, no glance. Just a flick of her eyes at the grocery bag in my hand, like I'd brought home a dead fish. I stepped in, leaned down to kiss her cheek, and she slid away like I was something she needed to dodge. "I'm not in the mood," she said, already turning toward the bedroom. "You've been out of the mood for a month," I answered. "For me, anyway." A small shrug. Work drained me. She vanished down the hall. No door slam. No talk. Just a quiet I didn't recognize living in our place. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have stretched, warmed up, and taken the short route. But I didn't, so I took the long one. I came home 2 nights later with flowers, steak, and that stubborn hope I've always had for us. She was on the couch with the TV on low, still in her blazer, shoes kicked off, but lined up like soldiers. The remote in her hand looked like a weapon. "I figured you'd be hungry," I offered, setting the steak on the counter. "And I'd like to have dinner with my wife." She didn't look at the flowers. She didn't look at me. When I moved to hug her, she shoved my chest with the heel of her hand and stood up. "Don't touch me," she snapped. "Not until I decide you deserve it." I didn't say anything for a second. I was steady enough not to react. I just studied her face and filed the sentence where it belonged, under respect owed. "That's a new policy," I said, hanging my jacket on the chair. "When did we pass that one?" "It's been passed," she muttered, walking to the bedroom. "Catch up." She shut the door. She didn't lock it. She just shut it, like we were roommates sharing a narrow hallway. Fine. I ate my steak, put her portion in the fridge, and slept on my side of the bed with enough space between us to land a plane. In the morning, she was already gone, a coffee ring on the counter like a stamp that said clear. I told myself it was a rough patch. Work, stress, people drift and find each other again. I've always believed that relationships are built during the dull days. The problem is you need two people building. One worker can't raise a house. Next evening, I kept it simple. No flowers, just conversation. "How about a walk after dinner?" I asked, wiping the table. "I'm tired," she said. "Friday night, then. We'll take a drive to the lake." "We'll see." "We always see," I replied. "We never do." "Maybe if you tried harder," she shot back, pulling her hair into a clip. "Maybe if you were, I don't know, better." "Define better," I said. "If you have to ask, you're not it." She left the kitchen. I kept standing by the sink, looking at the clip of sunlight moving across the floor, and I understood a basic thing. When someone keeps rewriting the rules, the only choice is to stop playing the game. I wasn't there yet, but I felt the map shift in my pocket. 2 more days of the quiet war routine, and I made an adjustment. Initiative. If she wanted distance, I'd turn it into order. I changed my schedule. Early gym, longer shifts. I rerouted my commute to avoid the coffee shop we used to hit together. I stopped chasing conversations and started sending brief updates by text about bills and logistics. No tone, no bait. She noticed the second morning. "You're up early," she said, coming out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel. "New schedule," I answered, tying my laces. "No heads up. You've been not in the mood to talk," I said, standing. Figure I'd match the calendar to the weather. She made that little snort that means I won a point she didn't want to concede. "Do what you want." "I am," I said. "You should try it." That night she came home with takeout, set it on the counter with the clatter of plastic lids, and said, "I picked up your favorite." "That's nice," I replied, washing my hands. "What's the occasion?" She fiddled with the bag. "I've been stressed. I shouldn't have snapped. Let's reset." "Reset how?" I asked. "Dinner. Movie. No pressure." "Pressure," I repeated, drying my hands. "I'm not the one adding conditions. Are you eating or not?" "I'm eating. Thanks." I set 2 plates, sat down, and watched her over the rim of my water glass. She smiled at me in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. It felt like spring after a long winter. Warm, careful, temporary. Halfway through the movie, she slid closer on the couch. Her knee touched my leg. A week ago, I would have grabbed that moment with both hands. That night, I just let it land and stay there. I wasn't in a hurry. I had a question I needed answered first. Was this closeness something new, or a reward I was expected to earn like a good dog? When the credits rolled, she stretched. "See? Better." It is better, I said. I like better. She nodded and yawned. I have a long day tomorrow. Good night. She disappeared. The couch still held her shape. I sat there and realized I hadn't moved closer on purpose. It wasn't punishment. It was a boundary. I wanted my wife, not a gatekeeper with a stamp book. The next week, she tilted back to cold. Fast. I tried simple things. Coffee on her side of the bed, a warm hand on her shoulder, a short note on her steering wheel that just said still us. She either ignored them or mocked them. Cute, she said one morning, lifting the note with 2 fingers. I'll put it on the fridge next to the cartoons. Put it wherever you keep your sense of humor, I replied. You think this is about jokes? I think this is about respect, I said. And it's on sale. She rolled her eyes and walked out. The door didn't slam. It sighed. That's worse. I made a second adjustment. I split the budget. 2 bank accounts. I told her at dinner, flat voice, calm eyes. Bills stay on autopay. I'm handling my side. Your hobbies, your extras, on you. I'm not financing a Cold War. She stabbed a salad leaf. Are you serious? Completely. That's petty. It's adult, I said. You set the tone. I'm matching it. She laughed without humor. You think tightening money will make me kinder? I think clarity is kindness, I answered. And I'm done with gray zones. She put down her fork like it weighed 5 pounds. You're overreacting. This is me underreacting, I said. You won't like me when I actually react. She scoffed, got up, and took a phone call in the hallway. Her voice dipped and warmed with whoever was on the other end. It wasn't a tone she'd used on me in weeks. I sat there, steady, and thought about the new rule I'd just proved. If I let it slide, it becomes the floor. The following days she started going out with friends. Almost every evening. New perfume. Different top she hadn't worn in a while. She'd catch me looking and deliver the same line. I'm meeting the girls. Not that it's your business. I tested it once. Names? I asked. Her mouth tightened. You want a permission slip? I want the truth. I told you where I'm going. That's not an answer, I said. That's a noise. She grabbed her bag. Try not to wait up. I didn't. I went to the gym after work, showered there, and met my guys for wings at a place near the park. It's a spot with 2 mini TVs and no pretensions. Matt runs a construction crew. Luis teaches high school physics. Both of them have a radar for nonsense. You look lighter, Matt said, tapping his beer glass against mine. You finally sleeping, or you gave up caring? Both, I said. She's distant. Cold. Keeps leaving in the evenings for friends. I'm done auditioning for my own marriage. Luis leaned in. That word, friends, came with quotation marks. Feels like it, I replied. I'm not built to snoop. But I'm not stupid either. Matt cracked a wing. You don't need to snoop. Hire someone who already doesn't sleep at night. I smirked. A professional? Exactly, he said. You want answers without putting yourself in a mess you can't unsee. Get a report. Make your decision. Luis nodded. And stop spending extra time at home. That place stopped being home 2 months ago. I took a breath. You two are a real comedy duo. We're a mirror, Matt said. You decide if you like the reflection. I hired a professional the next day. Discreet. Not some movie character, just a retired cop with a camera, a notebook, and a price list that didn't blink. I gave him her schedule as I knew it, the hours she left, the places she liked. He nodded like he was building a small bridge. 3 days, he said. Maybe 4. At home, I moved to the next piece of initiative, no emotional credit. I kept my words short, my tone neutral, my eyes clear. If she was going out, I didn't ask when she'd be back. If she wanted to monologue about how tired she was, I let silence do the work. She noticed. Passive people miss a lot. Controlling people miss nothing. You're off, she said one morning, standing in the kitchen with a mug in her hand. I'm aligned, I replied. You should try it. Aligned with what? My standards. Oh, here we go, she muttered. You're giving me a speech about standards. No speech, I said, tossing my keys from one hand to the other. Just new rules. I'm not chasing. I'm not buying affection. I'm not standing at a door you keep shut. You're making this worse, she said. When I'm ready, I'll come around. You're not helping your case. My case. I smiled without warmth. There is no court here. She stared like she couldn't tell if I was serious. Then she shifted. Look, she said, softer. I'm sorry about the other night. I was harsh. You didn't deserve that. Let's get dinner Friday. My treat. That was illusion number one. It tasted like sugar you forget is artificial. Friday, I said. Sure. Friday came. She dressed careful and light, the way she does when she wants a room to pay attention. At the restaurant, she chatted about random things. Her coworker's new project, a funny email, the neighbor's dog who kept escaping. She reached across the table and touched my wrist. See, she said. We're fine. Are we? I asked, meeting her eyes. She didn't flinch. We will be. We finished dinner. She didn't ask about us beyond that surface level we will be. She didn't bring up the distance, the rules, the new money arrangement. She didn't look like someone rebuilding. She looked like someone maintaining a leash. Back home, she kissed me on the cheek, said she had a headache, and went to bed. I stood in the living room and listened to the quiet again. That quiet had a different flavor now. It was calculated. The report arrived on a Tuesday morning in a plain envelope with my name typed on a label. Inside, dates, times, places, pictures. Neat, detailed, professional. My hands didn't shake because I keep my hands for work and rest, not for drama. I read. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. Evenings, she said, were for friends, were dinners with a man from her office. The photos weren't art. They were simple truth. Them at a corner table. Them walking to a silver sedan. Them entering an apartment building 2 blocks from her office and staying until dawn. Same address each time. His name was in the report. I'd heard it once when she complained about a meeting that ran long. This was that meeting, just after hours and with a different agenda. I put the folder down, went to the sink, ran cold water, and let it run for a moment because you treat new information like a burn. You cool it before you decide what to do. Then I made a decision and followed it all the way through. No spectacle, no shouting, no asking her to pick me. I'm a grown man with a life, not a contestant. I called an attorney and filed the paperwork. Straightforward, no ceremony. Then I called a moving company and arranged the truck for Saturday. I already had an address because I already had a plan. A small house I'd quietly leased 2 days earlier when the pattern finally clicked. 10 minutes from my job, 25 from our rental. Sunlight in the morning, quiet neighbors, a garage I could turn into a workspace. I didn't need more. For 3 days I behaved normally. Or rather, I behaved like someone who doesn't owe a performance. When she left in the evenings, I went to the new place with a box or 2 in my trunk. Tools first, paperwork next, then clothes. She didn't notice because people who keep secrets assume everyone else is too busy to spot them. On Saturday, I waited for her to leave with her overnight bag. 10 minutes later, the movers arrived. 2 hours after that, the place looked like we'd been robbed by a polite thief who left all the furniture that wasn't mine. The paperwork from the attorney sat on the kitchen table with a pen and a yellow sticky note on top. My note was simple. This is what you earned. I put both sets of keys under it, took one last look at the hallway where our frames used to hang, and locked the door behind me. Then I blocked her number, not with anger, just with closure. Some doors you close because they're broken, others because they lead to rooms you're done entering. By Monday morning, the story had sprinted ahead of me. Friends texted. Matt called. She's asking around, he said. Looking for your address. Let her look, I replied. She's telling people she left you because you were lazy, he added, picking his words. That you didn't invest in the marriage. Of course she is, I said. The best defense is a story. What's your move? Clarity, I said. Public clarity. I posted a short message on my page that afternoon. No adjectives, no insults, no labels. Just facts and dates. My marriage ended. Paperwork filed Saturday. I wish her well. For those hearing alternate versions, I've attached the truth. I attached the report, redacted faces of passers-by, addresses visible, timestamps clear. No commentary. People can do the math when they're handed numbers. Messages poured in. Some from her friends, shocked. Some from my family, disappointed but relieved to finally understand the silence. I didn't respond to most of them. I wasn't running a PR campaign. I was telling the truth and then locking the file. The next morning, Matt texted me again. Her office found out, he wrote. Someone forwarded your post. I hadn't planned on that. But when you set a boundary with facts, some facts travel. Later that day, a friend in HR at her company sent me a simple message. They took action. Both of them. I left it alone. Actions have prices. Everyone pays theirs. That afternoon, around 3, my new office door flew open. I was halfway through a meeting with a vendor, hands on a stack of estimates. When she walked in, my former wife, eyes bright and loud. "You," she shouted, ignoring the vendor. "You destroyed my life." I stood, not quickly, just up. "Danny," I told the vendor, "give me 5. He glanced at her, at me, gathered his papers. "I'll be in the hall." She pointed at me like she could move me with her finger. "You posted that garbage, and now I'm out of a job." "He is, too. You're a monster." I leaned back against the desk and crossed my arms, not as a pose, just to have somewhere to put them. "I posted the truth," I said. "No adjectives. No names you didn't create. Your choices had consequences. Mine, too. We're living in them. You set me up," she barked. "You wanted this. You wanted to punish me." "I wanted respect," I answered. "I gave you a month of chances to act like a partner. You used that time to practice speeches and dress rehearsals. I didn't punish you. I just stopped covering for you." "Take it down." "No. You owe me." "I owe you nothing." I cut in, gentle but firm. "You broke the deal. That deal bought you privacy. Once you cashed it out, the privacy went with it. You don't get to decide." "I do," I said. "This is my life. This is my name. You don't own either." She took a step closer. "You think you're noble? You're small." I let it pass. "You're trespassing at my job," I told her. "Leave now. If you don't, the next people you see will be wearing uniforms." Her jaw went tight. She looked at the vendor through the glass panel in the door, at the receptionist watching with that wide-eyed blend of curiosity and discomfort, and she calculated the cost. Then she did what people do when the bill lands. They pretend they meant to pay all along. "This isn't over," she said. "It is for me," I replied. "There's the door." She left. The room shrank back to normal size. I opened the door, waved the vendor in, and finished the meeting. That's what steady men do. They handle the next thing without turning the last thing into a campfire. By evening, the circle finished closing. A friend of hers, someone who had defended her loudly online, wrote to apologize. "I didn't know," she said. "I shouldn't have assumed." I told her she didn't owe me anything, and she didn't. People believe the story that hurts them least. It's human. Eventually, they meet the facts and adjust. I spent my first full night at the new place in real silence, not the staged kind. No clock tick I didn't choose. No shifting in the hallway. I grilled a cheap piece of salmon on the small back patio, called my brother, sent Matt and Luis a thanks for pushing me toward a decision, and slept like work was done. Not happy, just done. A week later, after I'd settled into the new routine, she tried the second form of change. It always comes this way. After the storm, a sunny day arrives like an apology. She waited by my truck in the parking lot at the grocery store. No makeup, hair pulled back, eyes making themselves soft. That used to work on me. I can appreciate good acting without buying a ticket. "Can we talk?" she asked. I pressed the remote and the truck chirped. "You found me." "I've been calling," she said. "I blocked your number." "I know," she murmured. "I deserve that." "What do you want?" "I want to apologize," she said. "For everything. I've been a lost. I handled things badly. You didn't deserve the cold shoulder. You didn't deserve the way I spoke to you. I was testing you and resenting you at the same time. It was wrong." There it was, the big warm blanket. Focused, detailed, different from the first light apology. This one had the shape of accountability. "I appreciate the words," I answered. "We could try again," she said quickly. "No games. Real counseling. I'll quit my job. I'll move if you want, I'll." "No," I said. Her mouth opened, then closed. "Just no. Just no," I repeated. "Why?" she asked, voice rising. "If you loved me." "I did," I said. "I loved you with a steady, boring kind of love that keeps marriages alive. You wanted fireworks. You turned the lights off when there weren't any. Then you started seeing someone behind the curtain and telling me I had to earn what used to be ours by default. You didn't protect us. Now there's no us to protect." She looked at the asphalt like it had an answer. "People make mistakes." "They do," I agreed. "And they live with them. You're cruel." "I'm clear," I corrected. She swallowed. "If you'd just given me more time." "You had time," I said. "You spent it." "Can we at least talk in private?" she asked, glancing around. This is private, I said. We're two adults in a grocery store lot. I'm not dragging this into some corner where you can try to negotiate your way back into comfort. So that's it, she said. That's it. She stepped back, a tiny move that said everything. You'll regret this. I regret waiting as long as I did, I answered. She left, faster than she'd arrived. I bought coffee and a bag of oranges and drove home feeling like a room had finally been aired out after months of stale air. The days after that were ordinary, my favorite kind. Work, calls, a Saturday morning basketball game at the park with Matt and two guys from his crew. A simple date with a woman named Erin who worked as a nurse and asked direct questions and didn't flinch when I answered them. No rush, no declarations, just breathing the regular air of two people sharing a table. Word trickled back through mutuals that my ex was living with a friend on the far side of town and looking for a new position. The man from her office had gone quiet. People will pretend to be brave until the cost gets tallied. 2 weeks after my move, the paperwork I'd filed was already halfway processed. I kept my head down and my hands busy. I didn't speak her name unless someone asked a direct question. If they did, I gave direct answers. The last ripple came on a Tuesday. My receptionist buzzed me. "There's someone here to see you," she said, nervous. "He says he's her former manager." "Send him in," I said. A guy in his 50s stepped into my office. Polished shoes, tired eyes. "I'm here off the clock," he explained. "I heard she caused a scene. That's not why I'm here." "What can I do for you?" I asked. He shifted his weight, respectful. I wanted to say, "I'm sorry for how it bled into your world." She told us a story. People believed it until they couldn't. It's ugly when professional lines get crossed. "Agreed," I said. "You handled it clean," he added. "I don't know you, but that much is obvious." "Thanks," I replied. "We're finished. That's the important part." He nodded once and left. That was the last time anyone from her orbit walked into mine. There's not much else to say after that. I didn't glow up or reinvent myself or find religion. I did something more boring and harder. I built a routine that kept me honest. Early gym, long showers, a garage with a workbench where I tuned up a used motorcycle I bought from a guy who was moving to another state. Weekend hikes with Matt and Luis when they could break free. Dinners with Erin twice a week, slow and steady, with conversations that didn't feel like a test. She asked once what happened with my marriage. I gave her one sentence and a look that told the rest. She nodded. We moved on. I kept the house spare. A couch, a table, a decent bed. Tools stacked in labeled bins. The walls bare except for a framed photo of my brother and me fishing on a foggy morning years back. It wasn't art. It was anchor. Sometimes at night, I'd hear a train in the distance, 3 notes trailing off, and think about that first sentence my ex threw at me. "Don't touch me until I decide you deserve it." I don't live with sentences like that anymore. If anyone talks to me in conditions, I turn the page. A month after the move, Matt and Luis came by with a cooler and bad jokes. We sat in the driveway and watched the evening slide down the street. Matt nudged me. "You're good," he said. "I'm better," I corrected. Good is a big word. Luis raised his bottle. "To better." We clinked. "You know what the best part is?" I added. "What?" "Silence when I walk in," I said. Real silence. A car rolled by. The neighbor waved. Erin texted to ask if Thursday dinner still worked. It did. I don't track my ex. I'm not a museum for old stories. People tell me she tried to spin it different and ran out of audience. They tell me the guy from her office moved away. They tell me she's renting a room and counting pennies. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's gossip. Either way, none of it is my emergency. If you want a moral, fine. Here it is, boring and reliable. When the respect is gone, leave before you start negotiating for crumbs. Don't shout. Don't beg. Change the rules. Take your name back. Take your time back. Tie your shoes and walk. When she stormed into my office and blamed me for the wreck, I told her the only line that mattered. "You ruined your own life," I said, "with your own hands. I didn't make you do anything." And then I told her the second line, the one that's a key and a lock at the same time. "Leave, unless you want the police here." She left, and that was the end of it. I drive a truck that starts on the first turn. I live in a house where the morning light lands right on the kitchen table. I work with people who shake my hand and mean it. I spend time with a woman who laughs with her whole face and doesn't make love a prize I have to perform for. I keep friends who'll tell me what I don't want to hear if it keeps me from turning into a fool. I earn that, not with flowers and speeches, with standards and a door that opens outward. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.